Although I'm not always great at them, I always enjoy a battle puzzle game where you're clearing various gems or blocks or whatever it is and chucking the rubbish onto the other side of the screen for your players and opponents to battle with. You don't get too many of them coming out these days, which is why I was delighted to see Gematombe flying out for modern consoles, and this is the PS5 version you've got on your screen. This game is a mixture of Arkanoid and Puzzle Bobble, but it heavily reminds me most of a PS1 title called Puchicarat, which does something very similar to the stylings of Gematombe, but there are some minor differences between the two. In Gematombe, you play as one of 6 characters, and you have a little paddle at the bottom of the screen that you can move left and right with. And you need to catch the ball, and when you catch it, instead of normal Arkanoid games where it just bounces back off the bat, this time you hold it and then manoeuvre yourself into the next position to aim your ball and then fire it off again. The idea with Gematombe is that you are clearing collections of blocks of the same colour. So if you hit one red block, for example, it clears all of the blocks that are horizontal and vertically directly connected. So if you've got a row of 3 or 4 horizontal or vertical in a line, hit one, it will normally clear the rest. However, you will get like double blocks or triple blocks where they're cast in iron or heavily glazed, and so they'll require repeated hits to break down to that final level to then clear them out. And this is where the strategy of Gematombe comes in, because what you're trying to do is work out the best trajectory to hit as many of those layers and lines of blocks as possible, because you can only send rubbish to the other opponent's screen if you get a combo of 6 or more blocks being hit and eliminated at one time. And so you might have hit 4 blocks of all different colours, but if they're all in a individual and not connected to anything, you're not going to move any of that rubbish to the other side. So you've got to work out tactically, am I going to get rid of something because it's slowly moving down towards my dead zone line at the bottom of the screen? Or are you going to try and prioritise hitting various other things higher up the screen are going to potentially clear out more? The way how rubbish is also attributed to the other side of the screen is quite interesting, because it's like a reverse Tetris in a way, because in Tetris obviously you're kind of putting blocks at the bottom and then it rises everything up to the top. With Gematombe, what it's doing is it's constantly pushing stuff down towards you, and so what it does is it puts layers of blank blocks out there, but one has a padlock on, and if you're able to hit that and it's randomly placed at anywhere in the row, it then de-blanks, for want of a better phrase, all of the other gems in that row, which then means that it becomes quite a powerful attack to then send back, because if you hit one, you'll then hit potentially all 8 out again, and then it will send that rubbish back the other side. And so there's almost like a risk versus reward sub strategy here of being utterly rubbish early on, but setting up loads and loads of lines of gems for you to be absolutely horrific and send a cavalcade of rubbish to the other side's player board, and then they'll be like, what the hell is going on? And so that's kind of the back and forth of how a game plays out. I found this game to be really fun and easy to pick up. There's some nuances around when you get down to the last 5 gems where things don't always clear as blocks altogether. And I found because sometimes there's slightly different shades of a colour, and that confused me because it wasn't overtly obvious what was kind of going on. I'd be like, oh, I thought that was always going to clear, and it didn't. So there was a little bit of confusion there. But outside of that, this game plays smoothly, is great fun to play. It gets quite competitive and aggressive quite quickly. You can also change the speed of the ball, and what I found was this also then changed the speed of my decision making and behaviour. So on the slower modes I took much more time taking my shot, but also the ball travelled much slower, so I never really missed collecting it. However, if you put the speed on its fastest speed, this does become much more of a not twitch reflex ricochet game, but I've then found that I was speeding through my decision choices and cack-handedly doing some of my aiming. And I found that kind of a really interesting twist on things. And I found that other players were doing that when we was playing local multiplayer too. So yeah, really good fun. Outside of the multiplayer mode, which is really where you're going to spend most of your time, there is some stuff for single player. You've got the 6 characters, each of which has their own kind of special move for chucking rubbish over to the other side. So it might be that it adds on extra rows, it might be that it makes some random gems double strength or triple strength. One has a little hand that comes over that rearranges some blocks, which then means that they're not in nice pretty rows to get rid of all at once. That was all good and fun. But outside of that as well, you've then got a survival mode and a practice mode. But really, you're going to be spending most of your time in the multiplayer, because that's where Gematombe shines. Written review over on highplayinggames.com. It's great to see these types of games still coming out. Support them if you enjoy them. This is great fun. Bye-bye.
Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.